Welcome, everybody, to Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. Carolyn is amazing. She's a doctor, she's a naturopath, she's an herbalist, she's an acupuncturist. She's going to tell you exactly what she would do if she were in your shoes. I can't think of a person who has devoted more time to helping people's health than Dr. Carolyn Dean. She can make a huge difference as you listen to her words of wisdom. We know she's ahead of time because she is the doctor of the future. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean. As we both put our phones aside,
the texting, oh my gosh.
We're so busy and important, right? That's so funny.
What did we ever do before cell phones?
Oh my gosh. I mean, just to think people are in the store shopping and talking on the phone. It's just really incredible in a lot of ways, isn't it?
Yeah. Or I see people, they'll take a picture of a food and then text whoever and say, is this what you mean?
That's right. That's right. That's right. It's fun. We're living in a fun world, and now we're in the Facebook world. So we're here on X, we're here on Facebook, we're here on YouTube, and we are here to tell the world that Dr. Carolyn Dean, who's been at it for 50 years in the most amazing ways, has so much information to offer you this evening about your health, your wellness, your longevity, your vitality, breaking down the myths, talking about pros and cons of different strategies, bringing her own impeccable wisdom and insight to this podcast this evening. And we've got live answers and questions over here on YouTube, on the chat line, wherever you're at. So be able to put your questions in the chat line. We'll answer them if we are able throughout the show. And we invite you to also experience our customer support team, our customer experience team. The number's on the screen. If you have questions during the show, you can also call in and talk with them. Welcome, Carolyn.
Thank you, Ginny. Good to be here. So let's get to it. The library. Oh, we're still on The Missing Link to Total Health. This is the book that's changing everything. I've got so many copies. I get boxes and boxes. I just give them out. And people say, oh, you mean you're giving it to me? Can't I pay for it? And I said, no, it's like my business card.
That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And it's amazing the reactions Julie and I get, especially at the market or at my monthly public health talk mostly about magnesium, but about everything else. I'm not having a talk in Maui in July though, because I'm going to Arizona, hanging out with Mike Tyson. Seriously, Ginny, people here are so excited about me going. I'm getting these presents for Mike.
Oh, wow, great.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I have to show you.
Okay.
Don't go away.
Okay, I'm right here. Don't go away, everybody. I think we're going to see a present for Mike Tyson that somebody on Maui has gotten Carolyn to give to him.
This is a bag by Sharp.
Oh, wow.
Bag to hold this.
Oh, wow.
Made by.
Beautiful. Wow. Wow. That's gorgeous, Carolyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're all trying to figure out if it'll fit around his neck.
Right.
Because he's got a neck. But
right.
It's sweet. I mean, people are just reaching. Oh my gosh, I think he's really done incredible with his life. What he went through and how he's lifted himself up, and it's very sweet.
Yeah.
Very sweet. And then there's someone at the Tuesday. This is not for Mike.
Okay.
I think actually what I should do is bring a bunch of these for people I meet. This is made by another beautiful woman at the Tuesday market.
Oh, that is beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm living my best life, Ginny.
You're you're living your best blissed out life. Yes, you are, Carolyn.
And Julie and I, one of our customers, he's a chef, and he killed his nervous system by overusing hand sanitizer during COVID.
Mm.
He thought he had to be impeccably clean and was soaking things in 100%
Oh,
toxic hands. Oh, it's horrible.
oh,
So he was having all kinds of nervous system problems, couldn't walk very well, all the rest. And somebody told him, well, talk to Dr. Dean. She's hiding over there by the sample table. And I just asked him to take some of our magnesium and our methylated Bs and amino acid formula for detoxing, and probably our multiple mineral. And seriously, within a couple of weeks, he was coming to the market shouting at the top of his lungs how
yeah.
better he felt. So anyway, Julie and I are going to go to, he's back to work. He's chefing a huge wedding. So we're going to go because he invited our farm, Ocoa Farms, and our farmer, Ryan, to put up a display of the foods that he cooks with. So
Wow.
I'm going to go there and have the Paragenius Foundation flyers and all the paraphernalia. Seriously, Julie and I will be walking on the beach walk and start talking. People say, oh, you do this, oh, give me your card, oh, I love magnesium, oh. So it's I was quiet for 18 years here, and now I'm a chatty Kathy. I can't stop.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And so many people are going to love your enthusiasm, Carolyn, because not everybody's that excited about their life. They don't feel well and they've got challenges and they're not sure what's happening in their body. And some people are financially stressed out. They're stressed out by the world circumstances. And so to be able to see your bright, beautiful face and let them know that there is hope for them and the worst is over.
Yeah. Yeah, the worst is over. And yeah, let's get to it because I've got some things to say. I
Oh,
got stuff to say.
good.
Yeah, and it begins with this week's blog, and it's about diet. And you can find it at drcarolyndean.com. The title is What's Wrong with My Diet? Because what we're seeing online is all these different forms of diet. Oh, you should eat this way, you should eat that way. And people are kind of freaked out. People just don't know who to trust or believe. And they kind of don't even trust their own senses or how they feel after eating a certain food because we've never been asked to do that. So you can read the article. I might hit on a few points, but basically what I'm saying is our diets are lacking in magnesium, and also most of the other minerals and vitamins and essential fatty acids. And none of the mainstream media sites even recognize, say, magnesium. And the alternative podcasters now, I don't know if you've noticed this, but they're heavily into the macros. So the macros just means our three foods, protein, fats, and carbs. And they're trying to say that if you get your macros right, then you don't have to worry about vitamins and minerals. The most extreme is the carnivore end of things, where they say that carbs aren't even necessary, that you can get everything from carnivore diet, which they say is meat, fish, and eggs. And I just don't get it. I really don't get it because when you're looking at vitamin C, for example, and I look up, well, how much vitamin C is in a piece of meat or whatever. Well, apparently it has to be raw meat for you to get like 10 milligrams of vitamin C. And the very low RDA of vitamin C is like 60 to 90 milligrams. Whereas what I've been saying lately, in order to protect our hearts from what we've all gone through with the COVID business, we need high dose vitamin C. So these macro people, carnivore people, maybe keto people, they're kind of in a silo. They're in their own little bubble, riding around on these macronutrients and not a word about vitamins. There was one surgeon who was he's gone carnivore. He lost 100 pounds. I mean, they all have these personal stories. I've got my personal story too, and my story is needing more magnesium. I'd never be able to go straight carnivore without my minerals. So I looked at his new book, and he mentions magnesium. Gosh, what did he say? I quoted him. He said, if you're deficient in magnesium, supplements can be useful, but be aware of the laxative side effects. It's all about how much you can take without loose bowel movements. So, of course, he doesn't know about picometer magnesium, or that magnesium is necessary for 80% of known metabolic functions. And with folks that are using carnivore to lose weight, and they think sugar is bad, they put all the blame on sugar, and then they say insulin resistance somehow magically damages the arteries and causes atherosclerosis. Now, they don't tell you how that's happening, but they say the evidence is there. People with high sugar levels, high insulin levels, that sugar is dangerous. The body tries really hard to get rid of sugar and pushes it into cells and pushes it into fat for storage. And if you don't eat sugar or don't eat carbs, then you won't trigger your insulin, and you won't put the pressure on the cells and create insulin resistance. So there's, this whole, stream of information. Nothing about the fact that you need that sugar in your cell to make energy. You need magnesium and the B vitamins and a couple other minerals, like zinc and copper, to run your Krebs cycle to make energy. You need higher doses of vitamin C for the antioxidant effect in the cells while this metabolism is ongoing. So they leave so much out of the story, and obviously they get enough positive feedback about what they're doing. I mean, I've tried a few days of carnivore, and yeah, you'd lose 2-3 pounds, boom, easy. But it's a very boring diet. The other thing about these diets, the carnivore, keto, I guess paleo to a certain extent, but more carnivore and keto, is you're avoiding sugar, gluten, and dairy, the three things that cause yeast overgrowth. So there was another person who was saying, yeah, I have to eat carnivore, sugars are evil, even fruit. If I eat a couple of apples just to do an experiment, I feel sick. Are they feeding their yeast? Would it be helpful if they got rid of their yeast overgrowth with, what I work with is silver, Saccharomyces boulardii, humic fulvic. So there's layers to what's going on with our diet. It is not just specializing in, well, I'm just going to eat meat and protein and fat. Or then you have the whole vegan grouping that says it's all about being a vegan that can make you healthy. A change in your diet is going to make your body feel different, and you'll interpret that as feeling better. And I guess, yeah, that's enough said. I mean, there's a lot of information that I've told you here, but I think the basis is they're saying everything is about inflammation. Too much sugar causes inflammation. And what we know about our micronutrients is magnesium is an anti-inflammatory, calcium is pro-inflammatory. So you have to be aware of taking enough of those nutrients. But these these fanatic diet people, they're trying to say it's all about diet at a point in time when we know that our food supply is very much compromised by the soil being deficient in nutrients, and compromised by the big food industry who's trying to addict us to sugary, fatty foods with a lot of vegetable oils. So we have to avoid those things, eat organic, and take my formulas. Right, Ginny?
I think that's the perfect solution. I mean, it sounds great. It works for everybody I know. That's pretty much where everybody's moved to, right, Carolyn? Because you really can't trust the food in the stores, and it's unfortunate. Even places like Whole Paycheck or, Trader Joke, those places that were supposed to be, reputable for having the consumer in mind are sold out to a bunch of processing and nasty business. So you really do have to just eat healthy in terms of the organic. But the other thing is, when you take a lot of the formulas, you're just not hungry, especially in the summertime. It's too hot and you're getting natural light. And the light is feeding your cells as well. We can live on light as well. So, I mean, there's just so many great options this time of year to get out, grow your own tomatoes, be part of a community garden, start exploring, making the changes, and make sure you've got all your supplementation. Because if you have all your nutrient requirements met, then food's just fun. Right, Carolyn?
I know, and I can't. It's mostly men, and they'll say, "Oh, the carnivore diet, it's so easy. I just throw a steak on the grill, I eat it, and I'm done." I mean, that is not living. Seriously.
Right, right, right. I agree. And I did try carnivore. I have to try them all because I'm an on the scene reporter. But when you do that, I was just absolutely gagged out by how stuffed I felt with all that meat sitting in my gut. I just couldn't do it. It wasn't for me.
Right, right. Yeah, it takes 5 hours for meat to leave the stomach, 7 hours for fat. So if you get a fatty meat, it is going to be sitting there. It does make you feel full. So you might only need 2 meals a day. But I, I mean, what I learned in my naturopathic training after med school, we learned nothing about nutrition in med school, but I learned that carbohydrates, we thought they were necessary for vitamins and minerals.
Right. Isn't that funny to think that now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now when the carnivores say, well, you have to eat the animal from tongue to tail. People aren't doing that. They're not even eating heart, liver, intestines, and all those ugly bits. They really are not. So they're not getting supposedly the vitamins and minerals. But seriously, if you look up the vitamin C content of beef or whatever, it's nothing. And if we lost our gene that makes our ascorbic acid, vitamin C, if we lost it back in the Garden of Eden, we still need the vitamin C. It's just so obvious to me. But anyway, enough said about all that. I tend to repeat myself, but that's how people learn, is through repetition.
And laughter.
Uh-huh.
Yay.
Right.
Okay. We've got a couple questions here. Can I ask you those before we go too far down the merry path?
Okie doke.
All right. Here's some questions. Linda asked, my question is, what causes hands to shake or tremor? Thank you.
Yeah, I see that periodically. It's called the familial tremor, and they just put it off as well, familial. They'll pretend like it's genetic. Oh, someone in your family had it, so you have it. But to me, it really is magnesium deficiency, and
Right.
probably some other minerals as well. The nerves are controlled by calcium and magnesium. And, heaven forbid, there's one guy that comes to the market and he has this familial shake, and he loves sorrel. And sorrel has oxalic acid and things that I think would make him worse. And I just, just haven't gotten up the nerve to tell him that. I mean, it's not my place. At some point, if he finds out I'm a doctor and asks me, I'll tell him. But yeah, it's
What's sorrel? I've never even heard of it.
SORREL. It's sort of purple green, leafy, bitter herb that's usually put in salads.
Oh, so he's actually eating his own demise.
Yeah, perhaps. So anyway, it's the nervous system. When you hear something about the nervous system, you cut back on calcium, you take more magnesium, and then you would look at your omega-3s because the essential fatty acids make up your cell membrane. You stop your omega-6 vegetable oils because if you have vegetables oils making up your fatty cell membrane, they're going to be leaky and inflamed. And then you look at your vitamin D. So it could be any number of those things, but I would start with magnesium. It's not natural.
Very good. C. Cruz is asking, you mentioned tendon injuries from fluoride molecules and drugs. Is it possible to detox fluoride molecules in our body? I saw a tennis player today who had an injury. He was on Cipro just 2 weeks ago.
Wow. There you go. Yes, it is possible because, like I've said before, our cells will maybe fat cells more than other cells can hold on to these toxins and poisons. In this case, magnesium fluoride, cellate. And if they're in tendon cells, they'll hang out there. But there's a turnover of cells. So if you make sure you take no more Cipro and you're taking our building blocks, you will make healthy cells. And when the Cipro affected cell dies, it'll be excreted and then you'll have healthier cells. It's a matter of turnover.
Yeah, very good. Cell turnover is the solution. Excellent. And our products, of course. Okay, very good. Let's keep pressing on.
Okay, so we come to the MAHA agenda.
Yes.
Every week now I talk about what I guess Bobby Kennedy is doing for the health of the country. And the big news last week was the health insurance industry is pledging to fix the broken system that requires prior authorization, which delays tests and procedures and treatments. Now, I know about this. I lent my other condo, which I've since sold, to someone for a few months, and she was a nurse, sort of going through hard times, but her job was doing these authorizations. Get a request from a doctor's office who would want the insurance company to guarantee that they would cover a procedure or a test or a surgery. The doctor could not proceed on their own because the insurance companies, they controlled that, and then they had this loop into their staff where these I don't know if they were all nurses, but they were supposed to say yes or no, and it could be days. She would tell me that she'd be called in on the weekend because people were off, and the pile was building up, and people had to find out if they could have life threatening surgery on Monday. So the whole system, doctors have no control over people who have insurance, which is very scary. And doctors, there's so many negative things about medicine right now. Doctors just learning the recipes for the treatment of conditions and just not being smart about what's going on. It's a really sad system. So anyway, apparently it's not official policy. I don't know if it'll get shifted because the insurance companies, they carry a lot of weight. So that's happening. Another thing that might not happen is that Bobby Kennedy proposed a ban on direct-to-consumer pharmaceutical advertising on television. However, that's not yet official policy. And I heard somebody critiquing that and say, well, you know, the the television industry is mostly funded by drug ads. And if they don't have these drug ads, they're not going to be able to perform. They're not going to be able to send people overseas or on these missions to give us misinformation anymore. So, and the direct to consumer it totally changes the message on TV. When I was in New York doing the AIDS study, somehow I got on all the local morning TV shows. I was on The View about a dozen times. And as soon as the direct to consumer advertising came on, I was off the show. I was just a guest, I wasn't a hired host or anything. And Ginny, I don't know if I've told you this. When I was doing The View, I would have fun with it. One of the segments was on hemorrhoids. I think I've said this before, but it's a fun story on hemorrhoids. So I brought in my little whatever. I brought in my hemorrhoid toy, which is a cardboard toilet roll wrapped in aluminum foil, and I held it, and I held a strand of grapes. What is it? A branch of grapes. And I let it go down through the roll. And at the bottom, I said, that's what hemorrhoids look like.
Oh,
And it was so funny. I even got on, there was this side show about the talk shows called Duck Soup. So I got on there a few times with my silly contortions, but the producer at the time, he told me I had to back off the comedy because I was overshadowing the hosts.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Nothing has changed much on The View that way, has
Oh,
it?
man. Oh, those were tense times. But
Yeah.
I met Barbara Walters. She was funny. We told jokes. So then going through X, let me just say this. Uh, RFK Jr. reposted a post by someone named Aaron Everett. And he says about Maha, he says, I want it all done yesterday. I
Mm,
hope for a better conversation about health and medicine in our country. And it feels like it is moving excruciatingly slow.
mm,
I know so many others who have either given up hope that it will ever change or
mm,
have said that all of it was a scam.
mm,
There's a feeling rumbling underneath the Maha movement that none of the efforts were worth it because the odds are insurmountable.
mm,
And then he talks about his enthusiasm for Bobby Kennedy's campaign. And he says, I understand how hard it is for him to be trying to promote what he's doing in the face of corrupt bureaucracy. So that's where, I mean, it seems that it is too much. I mean, I'm telling the joke now to people that, oh, yeah, it's really good. They're taking the dyes out of Fruit Loops. Oh, whoopee. But what are they doing for my organic farm to make it easier for us to make people healthy? The baseline is good food. It is organic food. Let's also start there. So they're starting from sort of the top down, and they'll never get to the farm unless they make organic farming a priority. Right now, in the previous administration, the grants were going to farmers that are making genetically engineered crops. They're making them. These aren't natural. So this is where my talk at the Vital Choice Project in Scottsdale, Arizona, July 18th. I'm just going to say, I have the solution. We can do it on our own. We can watch other people sort of doing their machinations and trying to make things happen in government, but you have a chance to be healthy today. And that's going to be my message.
Well, I will say one thing. I think it's fantastic. Can you imagine if RFK actually tried to be president and do what he's doing? It was not even possible for this huge albatross of a bureaucracy that sits on top of our human health could possibly have been managed by somebody who was also being the president. So I think it's fortuitous for us that somebody of his passion is focused on it. And I know everybody's really tired and worn out, but it's irrelevant. It either is going to change or it's not going to change, but it's not going to change because you had a temper tantrum. It's going to change because people are going to progressively move things forward as they're able, you know? So, and what it is going to change is at the consumer level. And when you see some things that they're also trying to do, like even making adjustments in SNAP benefits, you know, of what is qualified as actually payable government funded food now, you know, and you see the uproar. I mean, they're getting pushback at every turn. So even when they do try to make adjustments or change, when put organic food into the school lunch programs or whatever, then people get upset about it. It's crazy. People want to be unhealthy, I guess, right?
Yeah, they hate change.
They do.
Or they hate the changer.
There you go. There you go. But I think your message is on point. We're going to keep offering what we offer and do what we do and encouraging others to make those choices for themselves. And if they, you know, if they can't afford organic, they can definitely afford Remag. You know, there's no reason why organic is not the only solution, because Remag is better than organic, if you ask me. At least you know what you're going to get with Remag.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, maybe I'll make a recommendation to put our products on Snap. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. And then they can scan them in 100%. 100%. Now, let me ask this question. Can I ask a question now?
Sure.
Okay. Donna's asking, how does Remag interact with calcium channel blockers used for high blood pressure?
Interact. Well, our magnesium would make the calcium channel blocker unnecessary, because magnesium helps solubilize the calcium that the calcium channel blocker is trying to block, and it puts the calcium into the bones and teeth. So with the magnesium, presumably the blood pressure is going to fall. Magnesium is also going to increase your nitric oxide, which dilates blood vessels. So it's going to relax those smooth muscles in the arteries. So it's working on the blood pressure in several ways. So your blood pressure is going to come down, and any sensible doctor presumably will wean you off your drug if your blood pressure is normalized. I can't hear you, Ginny.
I said, very good. That's excellent. Yes. Your doctor should wean you off of that medication once your blood pressure normalizes. That's fantastic.
So, I mean, I don't know if the question was, is there an interference? Is it dangerous to take magnesium along with the calcium channel blocker? No, you're taking magnesium as a food. You aren't getting your magnesium in your food anymore. So you're taking our liquid magnesium as the food your body requires.
That's right. That's right. Very good. Excellent. Okay, we continue.
So we're at questions and answers and testimonials and whatnot. And what I've got here today is from Sarah, our customer satisfaction. No, it's our customer experience team leader. And we did customer satisfaction survey about our customer experience team. And the customers who participated expressed high satisfaction with their chat experiences. Many responses highlighted the efficiency and promptness of interactions, with comments such as super prompt and helped me with exactly what I needed, and very prompt and helpful responses. In general, the support provided by our representatives was frequently commended, suggesting a positive and collaborative customer service environment. Customers generally felt their questions were well addressed and appreciated the quick responses. So overall, the feedback indicates a strong positive sentiment toward the customer experience team, emphasizing their helpfulness and professionalism during the interaction. See, what you've got in customer service these days is AI and robots. So the fact that there's a human there ready to interact with you. And Jenny, how often do we get on the phone with people after we do a chat or whatever?
Every day.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to just chat in, they can. But if they want to call in, they can. They can email in and say, "Can you call me?" You can call right now and they'll talk with you. You can take a survey and they'll respond to you. I mean, there's so many ways to gain access to our team, but the phones are open at all times and people are always responding 100%. And ixnay on the AI chatbot may.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great because our philosophy is if we upfront answer all your questions, then you're a satisfied customer and you just go on to experience your good health with your formulas. Otherwise, if people's questions aren't answered, they could just stop taking the product. So we know how to take care of people so that they will just go off on their own and happily actually recommend our products to everybody they know because they're feeling so good.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay, ready for the next segment?
Yes, ma'am.
Pros and cons of supplements and treatments and drugs. I've really put this all together. So I wanted to mention what I call the detox crowd, where people are talking about flushing this and that and doing liver flushes and bowel flushes and kind of a military action on your body. Let's get in there and, shove things around. And a lot of people are on the edge of feeling so unwell. I call it you're too toxic to detox. So why we don't do this 36-hour detox or weekend detox, that's kind of like marketing tools, it's clickbait. What we do instead is just make sure people are on our magnesium. And if they're really toxic, we talk about psyllium and bentonite clay, put people on our yeast protocol, and their body starts gently detoxing, put them on our methylated food-based bee formula. The bees are incredible, especially the methylated bees for detoxification. So we are detoxing all the time and our formulas support that. And then I came across, I'm always coming across things about cholesterol. It's an ongoing saga. And I think most people who've looked at cholesterol realize it's not the cause of heart disease. I don't know if I made that clear when I was talking about the sugar and insulin resistance. The carnivore people are now saying heart disease is caused by insulin resistance, but they're forgetting magnesium and vitamin C. And with the cholesterol people, if you're on a statin, they're starting to say, oh, you should get CoQ10 because statins kill this CoQ10. And we do get asked at our customer team about CoQ10 and if I recommend taking it. And I say if you're taking statins, yeah, take CoQ10 until you can be taking your magnesium and your other formulas so that you don't need to take a statin. But what we know about CoQ10 is the amino acid tyrosine is the precursor that's used to synthesize coenzyme Q10. And then with the tyrosine, a few other building blocks, we make our own CoQ10. It's not like we can't make it, but we don't because maybe we're not eating our protein foods that have tyrosine, which is meat, poultry, fish, dairy. I mean, these foods have 250 times the RDA of CoQ10. Now, the RDA may be low, but 250 times, that's pretty cool. The peas, beans, tofu has much less. So perhaps in the vegan vegetarians, they aren't making their CoQ10. We have tyrosine in our restructure, and also tyrosine is in our whole C reset, which I said the name of a product. Sorry, FDA. I apologize. So our vitamin C complex has tyrosine. It's part of the complex. Tyrosine is also a building block of our thyroid hormones. And that's why one of the many reasons we promote our whole C reset capsules along with our vitamin C berry powder, ascorbic acid, vitamin C. So with this cholesterol information I was looking at, they said, well, statins aren't really working. And then they list the statins they're using. Most of them have fluoride. And the thing about statins is they are antifungals. So some people feel better on them because of the antifungal part, which is very interesting. So then they go into names I can't even pronounce, azemtimbe and the fibrates and bile acid sequestrants and cholestyramine, that's an old drug, and Welchol and PCSK9 inhibitors. That seems to be the newest one that can significantly lower LDL, the so-called bad cholesterol. I mean, they haven't got the message that cholesterol isn't the problem. So then they go into combination medications where they'll include 2 or 3 different cholesterol drugs. So it's very frustrating to watch this happening and people being abused in this way. And then I put down some more words about insulin resistance, but I think I've already covered that in our blog, that you can't just say insulin resistance is causing everything.
Right.
Without talking about what sugar, the benefits of sugar making our energy. It amazes me.
Yeah.
Amazes me.
Yeah. It's crazy. I think the word that you just said that stuck out to me was abuse. And isn't that the truth? And it is very sad. I mean, these people are being abused by misinformation. They don't feel well. They're being overlorded with people who don't have their best interests at heart. So, yeah, get your tyrosine, get your pork. Pork is big. And also turkey. If you eat a good turkey sandwich at lunch or something like that, have a pork bowl with rice and fried egg like they do in Maui, you got it covered, right? You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nature's smart. She knew what we needed.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I'm just running through my head as some experiences Julie and I had on the weekend. We meet people, they tell us their health stories, and they're just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Kidney stones. Oh, well, we'll just leave it. They left it. The doctors left it until the kidney died.
Oh.
Because the stone blocked the ureter and the urine backed up and killed the kidney.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What causes kidney stones? Magnesium deficiency in the B vitamins, especially B6.
Oh.
Oof. I know it's.
Oh.
So we have helpful hacks. I haven't been hacking with you lately. Everything I do is a hack, but I just want to reinforce how people can drink most of their water for the day in the morning. Well, it's not my morning now, but I tried to drink like 2/3 of my water in the morning and the other glass in the afternoon. In the morning too, I take my fiber usually before I go out on my walk, and in my fiber drink I'll put some of my minerals because they're not going to be bound up. They're stabilized ions. They're going to be absorbed. So I can get down a quarter of my minerals with my fiber in the morning, and then I'm off for my walk. So that's the hack. And the water, you weigh yourself in pounds, cut that number in half, and drink that many ounces of water a day. And in every quarter liter of water, put a quarter teaspoon of a good colorful sea salt. And I guess it's Celtic or Himalayan. I think Celtic salt, Ginny, have you seen it? I think it's mostly white, isn't it? So
Yes, it is definitely. Yeah.
yeah. So that's not as good as the pink Himalayans.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So look, we've actually got a few minutes to do some articles.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Let's go.
These have been moldering for months. Okay.
Maybe the world's changed in that time and they're not relevant anymore. I'm sorry to say, probably not true. Go ahead.
Right. So this is an analysis by someone called a Midwestern doctor. I think you can Google him. Mercola highlights this guy, a Midwestern doctor. And it's what they don't tell you about autoimmune disorders and arthritis. So I'm just going to make a comment about it. So he says, in most cases, autoimmune disorders and inflammatory joint conditions have an underlying cause, such as a chronic undiagnosed stealth infection. That's yeast. That is yeast. Or a food allergy. And that can be yeast too when the yeast in your small intestine pokes holes and allows undigested food molecules to be absorbed, along with the 78 different yeast toxins. And the yeast toxins cross-react with your organs. We've got studies from Ari Vujdani, yeast toxins cross-reacting with thyroid tissue, making Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease. So I go back to my original autoimmune disease is magnesium and mineral deficiency and yeast overgrowth. So he talked about that briefly, and then he said he expands into lifestyle contributions, getting your sleep, sunlight, exercise, diet, and dealing with your stress. So, he says a few thousand more words, but as I said, and in my 50 years experience, I say it's magnesium mineral deficiencies and yeast overgrowth, the main factors in autoimmune disease. And now there are dozens and dozens. I don't know if I read that there were 60. When I was in med school, there were a handful. So the body's sort of broken down. This yeast overgrowth is very conversant, very important to this conversation, because we only got over yeasty after antibiotics were introduced back in the late 40s and 50s. And since then, we've been overgrown with yeast. This next one is a Medscape Medical News. And the question is, do ultra-processed foods deserve a bad reputation? Yes, they do. But here's another, what I call a clown apologist, speaking up for ultra-processed foods. And this was back in May. And basically, they're trying to define what a food is or what food is. They're changing the definition of food. They say that ultra-processed foods are the staples of modern diet, but their health effects remain a topic of debate. So this is some 131 Congress of the German Society for Internal Medicine, experts are calling for a more nuanced perspective. So, yeah, that's enough. That's enough. Ultra processed foods are not foods. They can't be nuanced into anything but toxins that the body can't assimilate. We've all seen these science experiments where someone stashes a burger for somewhere for several years, and when they open the box, it has no mold, no deterioration. It's you're eating this plastic food. Um, I'll do one more and then I'll stop to see if there are any comments, Jenny. This one is just pharmacogenomics and pharmacokinetics of aspirin in preeclampsia prevention. So, in their background, they say it's become evident that some women develop preeclampsia despite aspirin. So, even though the treatment of severe eclampsia is intravenous magnesium, they're deciding to use aspirin to prevent it instead of magnesium. So, they just wasted a lot of money studying this failed protocol when they just, all pregnant women should be on magnesium. Okay, Jenny, over to you.
Wow. That's nuts. I know that the young women in my life who recently had beautiful children took Remag the whole time and they didn't have anything. And it's just insane to think that they're telling them to take aspirin. I can't even, it's just terrible. That's why we have to rely on our studio audience and our people out there in social media world. Please, 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 we've got to help. And if you see a pregnant woman, run up to her. No, I'm just kidding. But really, help out your family at the very least.
Yeah. Oh, no, because aspirin, it developed a bad reputation when they realized that every aspirin you take causes bleeding. It will irritate the gut and cause little pinpoint bleeding. So it has that local effect. Plus, it's a blood thinner. So they're trying to tell people to take it as a blood thinner, whereas something that's not actually a blood thinner but keeps calcium out of the bloodstream is magnesium. And calcium is what causes thickening of the blood. So, shall I go on or do you have questions?
Oh, I've got a lot of questions here.
Okay.
Now we have to just acknowledge that Alma in Kuwait, who's one of our most loyal listeners, says, I'm one of the person that the minerals satisfy. So she loves our products. Alan said for kidney stones, uric acid, drink parsley tea. What do you think of that, Carolyn?
Yeah, there are herbs. Parsley's for stones. Yeah. So that can help. Magnesium can help. There's something about uric acid that, oh man, I thought I had in my notes. Let me just see if I can find it. Yeah, because high uric acid is due to incomplete breakdown of protein from lack of B vitamins and digestive enzymes. Now, in terms of digestive enzymes, it's a matter of really chewing your food well. Instead of taking a digestive enzyme pill, you could take a teaspoon of vinegar and some water and take that. I think before a meal works best. Chewing well. Don't drink liquid with your meals. So there are. I get out of herbal prescribing back when I realized that the people who encapsulated herbs didn't really care if they were contaminated or infected or anything. They would just process them to get rid of the infection. So I get away from herbs, but certainly on the farm, we have an incredible parsley. So continuing on.
Just in the conversation that we've had in the last 54 minutes, it's a wonder any of us are alive. I swear. infected herbs, the kidney, just forget about it already. Leave the stone in there. Processed foods don't mold for, I mean, it's incredible. We are running an obstacle course of epic proportions, I swear.
Yeah.
Okay, Roberta Franklin says, what kind of fiber do you take?
I take psyllium. Psyllium, shall I go to my Amazon account and find out what
You can, customer service knows. We have an FAQ in customer service, Roberta. Why don't you just check customer service? You can email questions at drcarolyndean.com. It's just traveling over the screen right now. And they have a FAQ saying exactly what Carolyn uses. Okay, very good. Now, the next question is, will taking only one capsule of realign be sufficient to lower my B12 levels? To bring up my low B12 levels. There we go.
Probably not. I mean, we do very low dose bees because they're food-based, methylated. Bees that are very high are synthetic, and the body doesn't love them as much as they love ours. Most people are taking 2 realign. I'm taking 3.
Yeah.
Julie takes 4. I think Bob takes 6. I mean, you can play with it and see how your body does.
Yeah.
The B vitamins will color the urine a little brighter yellow or even slightly greenish. So you might play with it and take 2 and see if your urine changes. Because if you're urinating out a bit, it means you've saturated your body and you're getting rid of the excess.
Very good. Okay. Earth Empress, which I believe is Shannon, our dear friend Shannon, says, doesn't aspirin cause ulcers? My cardiologist wants me to be on aspirin for the rest of my life, but I say nope.
Yeah. Yes, Shannon, it's the little ulcer that causes that bleeding. So as you swallow it, it'll irritate the mucous membranes, cause a little bleed, and that can be an ulcer. And I suppose if you take a lot of it, some people are on, when they're on high dose aspirin, they could, I think, get a stomach ulcer.
Okay, very good. Now, remember, if your question isn't answered here this evening, because we have to wrap up the show, questions, questions at drcarolyndean.com is the email you can use. You can also call customer support. They're standing by all the time, and they'll be happy to talk to you. Anything else you want to talk about, Carolyn?
Oh, there's so many things.
There's so many things.
This is the last, Rachel, if you can go to the next slide. It's just about some drug for another lipid lowering. And I already went through that, how the statins aren't working, but they've got now this cholesterol ester transfer protein, CETP, and it's trying to destroy a certain enzyme. It's a crucial enzyme in the metabolism of lipoproteins. So let me get this straight. These clowns are going to inhibit a crucial enzyme in the metabolism of lipoproteins. It makes no sense. Medicine has become a clown show. I rest my case. Yay.
Yay. Yay. Well, listen, Dr. Carolyn Dean has been documenting the clown show for a long time, and it didn't just start. If you visit drcarolyndean.com, you will find her library, and in it, Death by Modern Medicine, which is one of the most fantastic books, chronicling our whole breakdown of our entire medical industry. And yet here we all are. We're still here. We're still alive. We're still doing good. We're running the race and we're winning. So that's very important. Also, the RNAreset.com website is the place to go to learn about Dr. Dean's formulas. And believe me, you're not going to want to not have them. If you're taking 2 or 3, get 4. because you need them all. Every single one is perfectly curated. They're perfectly crafted. They serve a particular biological purpose in the body. They can be used daily. These are not intermittent products. And you want to really get on them and stay on them and experience the difference that all of us are experiencing now. And after you've been on them for a handful of years, you really know what that difference is. And it's called, I'm getting up at 6 a.m, I'm drinking my water, I'm heading out the door with my dog, and I'm walking for however long. And I'm not curled up in my bed somewhere in a corner wondering how I'm going to survive this day. So you guys definitely want to stick with Dr. Dean's formulas. And also you got to get to picopets.com. You've got to get your pets on the products too. They're impinged on the same way, same Wi-Fi, same non-native EMF, same toxic food, same. And they need the same support. So I think that's it, right, Carolyn?
Yeah, that's great. So next week, same time, same place?
We will be here. That's right. With our hearts on, and we'll be ready to go.
Aloha.
You have been listening to Dr. Carolyn Dean, the doctor of the future. Become a member of drcarolyndean.com and get access to all her leading edge of creation information, as well as archives, webinars, and other valuable media resources. Join Dr. Dean and Ginny Almighty same time again next week.